Starting Tech News Weekly in 3, 2, 1.
Everybody, welcome to Tech News Weekly. I'm your host, Andrew Zarin. Of course, I'm joined by Suncast. How you doing, John?
Aliens.
Chemtrails.
9/11 was an inside job.
I went on a rant. So John Prosser's not here today. I was trying to get him to come, but he's not here. And
No. We just need to continue this tirade.
You know what? I can't do it because if I continue doing it, people are actually going to think I'm really insane. And two, my throat is actually killing me at this point. And every time I do the Alex Jones, I'm losing like 5 minutes of doing a show. So right now we're down to like doing a 30-minute show. I'm so sick. After the Apple event that we did on Wednesday, I felt great because I drank a bottle of wine while we did the show. So it was perfect. But I guess it kind of triggered whatever sickness I had because I did not feel well in the morning and I felt great in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I totally crashed at night. Like I felt terrible.
You drink too much.
You know what? It wasn't like a hangover. I was just so sick, and yesterday
I know, but it's poison for your body.
Like fluoride in the water, John. It's like fluoride in the water.
Let me take a drink of water.
Yeah. So I got really sick, and yesterday, like, I started feeling good again because I bought some Theraflu from the store, and, you know, it's this, like, weird thing where I feel amazing when I'm peaking on it, and then I'm going to crash, like, probably within the next hour. So we have to do the show now because I'm 100% going to crash and feel like crap, but I already feel like my throat is starting to close up. So I've also gone on this. We're
gonna lose Andrew Zarin.
Yeah, I've also gone on this crazy cleaning kick today because I feel like something is triggering me getting sick in my room. Most likely me. I'm just triggering myself and getting sick. But
you are a sick person.
I am a very sick person. So guys, a lot happened this week. A lot of Apple stories, a lot of Apple news, and we're a couple days separated from the Apple event that we did. I thought that was the most fun that we've had. That we've covered the Apple event.
In all honesty, I think that was probably one of the best Apple events that we've had in a year or two.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, the event itself was not bad at all. It was one of the better ones.
Definitely compared to WWDC.
Yeah,
it was a much better event.
But I thought it was a fun event. I enjoyed. I had a lot of fun doing it because normally I'm counting down the minutes to get out of there. Get out of the event.
Yeah. So so that you can go and get drunk.
Yeah, absolutely. So they did give us a lot to talk about. They did give us a lot of stuff to discuss. So we'll begin, obviously, with the big announcement: the iPhone 7, the iPhone 7 Plus. This was the showpiece of the event. Come with some of the specs here. I'm gonna go down the list here, and then we'll just pick up, what we want to discuss. Comes in jet black now. Apple warns it could be scratched. Apple's sending out a warning telling people like this is I guess this whatever it is on the surface.
It's obviously worded in such that it diminishes that fact, but it's basically them covering their butt.
So what did they say exactly? What were the exact words?
I don't know the exact words. I'd have to look it up. But it was extremely vague and just them saying, "Hey, look, yeah, it is polished, but because it is polished and glossy, it is possible that you could see micro abrasions."
Okay, well, that makes sense. And you know what? Good for them for letting people know, because then people are going to, complain that Apple didn't warn them. So that's fine. Most likely, you know what's amazing, though? We have these beautiful phones, right? Like, we have these beautiful, beautiful phones, which I don't have mine on me. And all we do with them is literally just cover them up with a case.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all we do, which is amazing. So we're
so fragile, though. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing. If you don't have it in a case, and you accidentally drop it, it's done.
Yeah. So you want to go down the list a little bit?
I didn't put a whole lot of stats in here. I just basically put some bullet points and stuff.
All right, so
it has a new A10 Fusion processor in it. They say that makes it the fastest yet, which, of course, it's the latest one that they have. So it's faster than the 6S. I forget how much faster that it is, but they were saying that it's the fastest yet. And it's also water and dust resistant, which is something very interesting because in their warranty, they still say that it doesn't cover water damage. But because they removed the headphone jack, they're now able to, I guess, make it somewhat water and dust resistant. How much water and dust resistant that is, we'll have to wait and see. Because I'm sure they'll do some sort of, testing to see just how waterproof this is. Obviously, it's not completely waterproof.
You can't dive in water with it. You can't, soak it in water. But, here's where most water damage happens. People aren't dropping their phones in toilets and sinks and getting water damage. Majority of the time, you're getting water damage by just being in the rain. That's how almost everybody that I know that has had water damage ruin their phone. And you know what? The thing that actually goes bad on the iPhone is the speaker. The mic, I'm sorry. The microphone goes bad. So this is going to prevent something like that from happening, and I think that's great. I don't know how resistant it's going to be and how good it's going to work, but
I'm really interested to know just how water resistant this will actually be.
20 meters under the ocean.
Yeah.
Deep diving.
So it also has the 7 now has the same image stabilization that you saw in the 6S Plus. They've carried that over. One of the interesting things that they've done is they've upgraded the front-facing camera from a 5-megapixel camera to a 7-megapixel camera.
And that's big.
Which I think is a very big improvement.
That's actually a very big improvement because most people, most of the time, if I'm taking a photo with like my friends, I'm not saying like, "Hey guys, can someone take the photo?" We're doing like a selfie. We're holding it up like this and we're taking a selfie. So a lot of the photos that you see posted on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat, they're all front-facing cameras, and we know how miserable these things look. They're not really great cameras. 7-megapixel camera is probably one of the leading leaders in the industry right now, right? For front-facing cameras.
If they really wanted to be cool, they would have made it a 12-megapixel, same as the
front and back. Well, they'll get there.
I think would have been incredible.
They'll get there. The iPhone selfie.
Yeah. That would have been incredible.
Yeah.
I see. So the 7 Plus now comes with a dual camera. It has a wide angle and a telephoto lens. So it's got 2 cameras side by side. Telephoto is what's really cool is that it offers 2x optical zoom so that you can switch between the wide angle lens, which is basically just a 1x lens. But then you also have the telephoto lens, which does up to 2x optical image resolution, which is extremely cool that you're able to get 2x out of this. I don't know that you can necessarily get from any other phone.
No. Well, other than, the LG one, I think, does something like that, right? Where it's same concept, two lenses, and it does the zooming. One is a wide lens, and the other one is a 2x or whatever, a zoom, a zoom lens.
They say that you can also do a software zoom up to 10x, which is neat, but I don't know that I would ever.
But if you have 2x optical and then you zoom in once or twice, that's still better than what you're gonna have.
It'll look fine.
How often do you have to zoom on your camera? I'm curious. Like when you're taking a photo, do you ever zoom in?
More than I care to.
Yeah, interesting.
That's just me because I'm often in circumstances where I want to zoom in on something like. I want to take a picture of my cat, but I don't want to scare the cat away while he's doing whatever he's doing. So I'll just zoom in.
Interesting. Let's talk about that other camera feature that they discussed for a minute.
Yeah, the new bokeh.
Is that what they're calling it? Bokeh?
Yeah, which is a depth of field thing that they're doing, which is pretty cool.
So it's all software based, right?
Yeah, it's using both cameras, I guess, to make a depth of field map of the subject and what's being taken in the photograph. And it does this in real time, all this calculation. I think they were calling it ISP, the image processing is what it's being called.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool what they do is that they can actually blur out the background. They'll isolate objects that it's taking the photograph of in real time and determine what's foreground, what's background,
Yeah.
and blur the background out.
So
which will
let me
make
see
for
if I can pull this up
incredible
here.
portrait photos.
Let me see if I can pull this up. Oh, jeez, come on. There we go. Okay, so this website has photos, but this will not load. Come on. Come on, there you go. So here are some examples.
The sad thing is that it doesn't sound like we'll actually get this feature at launch.
We are not going to get it at launch, and I think it's extremely disappointing that we're not, because this is a major, major feature.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, first of all, that's a stunning photo that it took. First of all, it's very wide. That's a very wide. I mean, they cropped it obviously, but like these are some examples. You know, we don't know what kind of conditions they took these in, but nonetheless, it was taken by an iPhone. These were not retouched either. These were taken, you know, I guess in whatever, real time photos that they were taken. So this is actually a very impressive piece of technology, and I'm very excited for it.
This is definitely something that makes me want the 7 Plus.
Yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful shot, and this is a more of a realistic shot that I could see being taken with this camera.
Yeah.
Like this is an example of the bokeh, the depth of field mode that they have, where you can see that the back, this is what DSLRs do. And I'm not saying that this is a DSLR quality, but you know what? It's good enough, to be honest. It's good enough.
For most people, it is.
For 99% of people, and listen, I have a DSLR. I have many photography friends, and they are not very happy about this. This is giving it away.
You're never going to be able to replace a DSLR. I mean, you're still only getting 2x optical image stabilization.
But you know what this is equivalent of? You know what this is the equivalent of? Nothing compares to CD audio, right?
Right.
But the MP3 is king.
Yes.
It's a very similar kind of example of when you put, it doesn't have to be the best, it just has to be good enough. I think this is far beyond good enough. This is beyond point and shoot technology at this point. The iPhone killed the point and shoot.
Well, most point and shoots still do 4x optical zoom.
But if you're doing depth of field on these point and zooms, they're not the best depth of field unless you're getting a nice expensive one.
No, a lot of this honestly is software, and depending on how that software processes what it's seeing.
I mean, look at this. This is absolutely. I mean, first of all,
that's really what you're seeing is the software processing. Yeah. And how well it actually works.
This is using the image stabilization that's in the iPhone, and it's also using that's in the 6S, right? The 6 doesn't have image stabilization.
Correct.
Okay, so the Plus has. I'm sorry, not even the 6S has it. I believe the 6S Plus and the 6 Plus have it. So this is using image stabilization. If I could find the shot, there you go. And it's most likely on some sort of stabilizer or a tripod.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, or the man has the steadiest of them hands of them all. You know, but this is absolutely a stunning picture to say that was taken with an iPhone.
I'd love to know how much time they spent actually making these shots.
You know what? I don't imagine they spent a lot of time taking it, because if you have, because I've done it with this phone, right? Like I have a tripod for this, and I was playing around in the studio with my Axia board here, and I need to take a photo for Kirk, and I put it on the stabilizer, and I did a couple shots, and even without the best lighting, man, it looks so much better than holding the phone in your hand and hitting it, because even the slightest movement will affect the quality of it.
Yeah.
Listen, this is not a DSLR. Again, I'm not saying this is going to kill the DSLR or really be a threat to people that are purchasing DSLRs. I don't think people are going to say, well, I'm not going to buy a DSLR because I have an iPhone. Most people that are buying a DSLR camera want to get it into photography. They want to take it seriously. I think what this is hurting is, maybe you're going to hire someone for your kid's first birthday. You know what I mean? Like maybe you you have a party and you're saying to yourself, oh, it'd be nice if I got a photographer. It's not make or break. You don't need to. It's not going to kill the wedding business or like photo shoots. But if you were contemplating having a photographer at your kid's christening or the first birthday, you may say, you know what? I could take my iPhone out. Everybody has an iPhone anyway. The photos look great. Let everybody just take whatever they're doing and send it to me.
Yeah.
When you're coming close like this, it's a major game changer. This is a way bigger deal than people think. I was talking to Paul. Paul doesn't think this is as big of a deal as I do. I really think this is a big deal.
I think it's a decent deal. I think it's something that maybe not innovative, but it's a nice step forward.
Well, it's a major leap.
What we've seen on most cell phones.
Well, it's the first major leap that the iPhone has taken since, I guess, the iPhone 4S with their camera. I mean, you know what I would even say is that it's the first major leap that they've taken since the initial iPhone, 3G with the quality of the camera, because nobody was doing decent photos before on a phone.
Right.
So this is a major leap. I'm curious to see what it's going to look in real time. Obviously, we won't know until, John gets it and I get it and we start snapping photos at the bar and out at dinner and stuff like that. We won't really know. But if it is close to this, then it's going to be a big deal. All right, we'll move on, John. I'm really into this. I'm really, really into this.
Yes. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, and that is the fact that they removed the headphone jack.
Yes.
That's just something that was rumored and now is confirmed that there is no headphone jack.
Okay.
Apple will, however, provide you with Lightning headphones. It's the same headphones that they've put in every other, box of iPhones, only with a Lightning connector on it. And they'll also supply a Lightning to 3.5 millimeter headphone adapter.
Okay.
So that if you have other headphones, you can still plug it in.
Okay, so let's talk about this. We've discussed this for a couple weeks now, and we all agree that this may be a big deal or may not be a big deal. We still don't know how people are going to play out and how this is going to play out when it hits the market. And the intern's here. Hang on one second. Deacon's here. John, say hi to the intern.
Hello, intern Deacon.
So we don't know how this is going to play out. Well, yesterday I went out and I went to the bar and I went to go see a play, and I asked everybody that I knew that have iPhones, and I asked them, I'm like, oh, are you going to get the iPhone 7? They said probably. People that are up for upgrades are going to get it. People that are not, they're going to wait, right? They're going to wait that 2 years. And I asked everybody, and I brought up the fact that the headphone jack is gone. And they said, really? So what are they going to do? I said, well, it's the Lightning port adapter, the same as your charger, but they're going to give you an adapter for your existing headphones, and they're also giving you a headphone that goes into that. They go, oh, okay, that's cool. I go, does it bother you at all that you can't use your other headphones? He goes, no, I only use my Apple headphone. I don't think
here's the thing is that I don't think these people realize that they're not going to be able to charge their phone while also having headphones plugged in.
Yeah,
that's the main issue for me.
That is a main issue.
You can solve that with an adapter. Belkin has one that they're going to sell for $40. That's a dual Lightning port adapter.
And Amazon is going to sell it too for, Amazon is going to have their own version. That's going to be half the price. So it's fine, but they will not know.
Nonetheless, you have to have these adapters, and these are ugly adapters that are easily lost.
Well, that's another thing you got to carry, right? That's the thing. So I could see one adapter. I could see, let's say you have headphones that you like to use. And so you're going to have the Lightning to 3.5 millimeter, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I go into the city. You
basically have to have a pair of headphones. You have to have the 3.5 millimeter
and then you need a breakout.
Adapter. And you also have to have the dual Lightning port adapter so that you can charge it and have your headphones plugged in at the same time.
So when you brought this up to me...
That's two more things you have to carry with you.
So when you brought this up to me, I really thought, I'm like, well, that's a very small group of people that use it that way. And it probably is. It's still a small group of people. But
it might be, but at the same time, I don't think people realize what an inconvenience this will actually be.
No, they don't. And I'll tell you why.
Until they actually face this problem head on, I don't think they realize the problem that exists.
Well, they do not, because that was my next question I asked people, because a lot of my friends work in the city. So they take their train in the morning. They go 35 minutes into Manhattan. No, actually 30 minutes into Manhattan. They do another 15-minute walk, or they go on the subway. So their commute is like an hour to get to work, okay? They use they have their phone on them the entire time. Now they probably go out for a drink after work with their colleagues. Their phone is probably about 60% at this point. Now you're coming home, your battery's down to 20%. They all carry a small like backup charger.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're on the train, they're charging their phone, they want to listen to something. Guess what? You can't do it.
Right.
You cannot do it. You know what I was thinking? What if
anytime I'm on any sort of trip, or if I'm out for an entire day, that's essentially my problem.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people it is. Now, the other thing is you could get Bluetooth earbuds. Do people even want to deal with pairing and doing it? Remember, it's a pain in the butt for a lot of people, and they don't want to deal with it. Again, it's not going to be a make or break. They're not going to go into the Apple Store yelling and screaming.
I take issue with everybody, and people in the chat room are saying this. Well, it's only a small group of people, and you can just get Bluetooth headphones, and that'll solve all your issues.
It doesn't. Why do you have to do it? Yeah.
I shouldn't have to. And secondly, I don't like Bluetooth because the audio is inferior to actually plugging in a pair of headphones.
Yeah.
And also, what about people that are in work environments where they're not allowed to have wireless devices?
Yeah. There's a lot that goes into this. Into this. But listen,
these
again,
people that are like,
again,
oh, well, it's no big deal. I mean, you don't need to have both plugged in at the same time. People can go all day and just listen to music and then charge it at night. And then,
yeah.
Well, not if you're out for the entire day. And then at the end of the day, you got like nothing left on your battery and you need to, listen to something and charge your phone at the same time. How the heck are you going to do that?
Yeah,
without an adapter.
I think this is going to come down to use cases. Really, that's what it really comes down to, and we won't know that until a couple weeks go by and people start complaining. Most people aren't going to complain. Most people aren't going to care. Most people are going to just eat it and deal with it.
Most people are idiots.
Then. Most people are just going to deal with it.
To me, this is a huge issue.
Yeah, breakout cable.
This is my number one issue with the iPhone 7.
See, for you, this is an issue, right? And I do think like it would be for me also, because I'm one of these people that plugs in while I charge on my backup battery when I'm coming back.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's an issue also. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go buy a breakout cable for $40 freaking and use it and just deal with it. I don't think you should. I don't think it's a change.
Again, it's just like
it's a pain in the ass. I know.
You had to have, 2 more adapters to carry with you.
Oh, absolutely. I hate carrying it. Listen, I carry enough stuff with me. I don't want to carry more adapters. I got my earbuds. I got the adapter. I got, for me, I'll deal with it. Whatever. I can't. Is it going to, if that's the worst thing that happened to me today, that I had to plug this thing in, I'm okay. I'm going to look at it in that sense. But I do understand it's a pain in the ass. It's a major pain in the ass for a lot of people. I'm not crazy about it. I'm curious to see what happens. So do you want to continue down the list? Or let's continue down the list and then we'll go to the AirPods next. What do you think?
So the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus launch on September 6th. The iPhone 7 starts at $649 and 7 Plus will start at $769. And here's the good news. No more 16 gigabyte models.
Yes,
this is across the board, including
Apple,
iPad models.
I'm really glad about that.
New storage capacities are 32 gigabytes, 128 gigabytes, and 256 gigabytes.
Hey, so let me ask you, the 128 gig, right? That I guess is the second tier, which replaces 64 gig model. Is it at the same price point as what the 64 gig model used to be?
I believe so.
Okay.
I don't quote me on that, but I believe so.
Because I don't really download a lot of music. So for me, the storage thing is not a big deal, but I do take a lot of photos. Like on this, I have, it comes with 64, and then I have another 256 in here on the SD drive. So I have like 300 gigs on my phone.
Yeah.
But it's mostly video and images.
I wouldn't do 32 gigabytes myself just because of how much photos and videos I store on my phone.
So you would do 128.
I would have to at a minimum 64 gigabytes. But since they don't have 64 to choose from,
I think 64 is a really good price, like really good spot. I think but you know what the other problem is here? The other problem is I don't know how, like on my iPad, I have a 16 gig iPad. It's essentially useless because these apps are so big now. Like Word is a gig and a half, right? Like I have Word on there, gig and a half. Facebook, another, gig almost. So you're running out of space, and between the operating system, I think you're left with you have like 8 gigs or 9 gigs of free storage between photos and everything. You're done.
Probably not even that.
Probably not even that. Yeah,
I would say 6 or 7.
Okay, so you have you literally could install like 6 or 7 things and then take photos. It's not enough. You need more than 16.
My guess is that 16 gigabytes, you normally get about 14 something. And then you're going to have, probably 8 gigabytes of that being the operating system and applications. So you're left with about 6 or 7.
Yeah. So this is good. 32 gigs. Let's, nice step up. Also,
by the way, did you see photos and how thin this is?
This is very thin.
I was looking at photos that people took at the presser that they had after the event, and holy crap, this thing is thin.
Did they say they didn't bring up how thin it is, which is bizarre,
they did not,
right?
But I'm looking at this and I'm like, honestly.
So here you go. You ready?
It looks a little too thin.
So it is, according to Apple's website, the iPhone 7 is 0.28 inches, which is 7.1 millimeters. And the iPhone 7 Plus clocks in at a slightly larger 0.29 inches, 7.3 millimeters. The new versions are, interesting. They are no thinner than the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus.
They look really thin, though.
You know what it is? It's Apple's, photo. That they do that a lot. No, it's not thinner at all. It's slightly lighter, though. Slightly lighter because it's missing a headphone
But,
jack.
the funny thing is that it's still a much larger, heavier device than you see in other devices. Because I was actually looking at comparisons of like the 7 Plus versus the Galaxy Note 7. And the Galaxy Note 7 is actually smaller and lighter than the 7 Plus.
Which one?
And the Galaxy Note 7 has a 5.7-inch display, whereas the 7 Plus only has a 5.5-inch display. So you're getting a bigger display that's not only smaller, but lighter with the Galaxy Note 7.
Hold on. Let me see here. What did I say the weight is?
All right, you're going to make me look all this up.
Oh, I got it. I got it here. Okay.
Got it?
I said it's 0.29, right? Let me see here. It's actually a little, according to this website, it's a little lighter than the Galaxy Note 7. It's 3.
No.
I'm sorry. I'm talking about
Note 7 is
lighter.
Smaller and lighter than the
You're absolutely
iPhone.
right. You're absolutely right. It's smaller and lighter. You're absolutely right. I was talking about the height. Sorry. Yeah. So, I don't like that about it. Is it that weird resolution that they do? Like the weird, the sizing of the screen? I don't know why it's so much thicker.
Well, the 7 Plus is a 1080p display resolution, but then on the Galaxy Note 7, you actually have a higher resolution screen at 1440p.
I wonder why it's that.
Which I think it's a little bit weird that you're still only getting a 1080p display with the iPhone 7.
Well, I think it has to do with the aspect ratio of that screen, right? That's why it's like wonky like that. Yes. It's a little high. Like on this is a much smaller phone. This is a 5.5-inch display, right? So if you look at this, it's not as big as the iPhone, Plus. Interesting. So let's see here. Launches September 16th. Pre-order starts today. You can order it today if you want. And I looked at the pricing. People are talking about the pricing. It is, if you get,
it's the same.
If you're getting it, I really highly recommend just getting it on the Apple website or getting it in the Apple Store because you are getting Apple Care with it. And they cover everything. You don't have to go with
here we go. Here's the exact dimensions.
Go ahead.
The iPhone 7 Plus is 158.2 by 77.9 by 7.3 millimeters. or 6.23 by 3.07 by 0.29 inches.
Okay.
Whereas the Galaxy Note 7, which has a 5.7-inch display, is 153.5 by 73.9 by 7.9. So it's mostly smaller than the iPhone 7. And then as far as weight goes, the iPhone 7 Plus is 188 grams, whereas the Galaxy Note 7 is much less at 169 grams.
So do you think the next version, the iPhone, I guess 8, not the 7 Plus, but the 8 will be the new form factor? I would imagine it would be. They would probably slim it down and maybe do, like a curved display. It stinks
because I need a new phone, and I don't know that I necessarily want this phone. I mean, I want the iPhone 7 Plus.
Yeah.
But, the headphone thing is what's really stopping me.
Well, maybe you should think about it. It
really is.
Maybe you should think about it. I would take my time on this one. I would take my time.
Here's the thing is, I have an iPhone 5. This is only a 4-inch screen, and this is now obsolete to me.
So once you get a 6 Plus, 6S Plus,
because I want the latest and greatest.
Yeah. By the way, Curtis B says the iPhone 8 will be the 10th anniversary iPhone.
Yes.
So you're probably going to get a major redesign, which I totally agree with him, and I think the redesign will be something big. It is, I'm trying to think. They kept the form factor for the iPhone, right? They did, the 3, the 3GS, right? It was that model. And then the 4 was a different one. So 4S. And then they changed it for the 5.
Yes.
5S. But since the 6, so you're having the 6, 6S, 7, 7S. So there's going to be 4 iterations of this phone with the same form factor. 6, 6S, 7,
4
7S.
models have with a similar form factor.
With the similar same body. So the next one has to be something big. I mean, they can't just make it just a little different. It has to be a big deal. 3, 3G, 3GS, then 4, 4S, then 5, 5S, 5SE, and then 6, 6S, 7, and then all the pluses: 6 Plus, 6S Plus, 7 Plus, and then you'll probably get the 7S and the and the 7S Plus.
Well, yeah. If they're doing a major redesign, they're probably just going to skip the S.
No. Not next year's. Not the. Yeah, it came out in 2007, right?
Yeah.
Or 2008. Yeah, 2007. Yeah. So actually, next year is the 10-year anniversary. I cannot believe that. I remember I was there. I was in FYE. Think about how long ago in Manhattan. I was in FYE in the city when they announced the iPhone, and I said, who the hell wants an Apple phone? This is so stupid. Who's going to pay, whatever the price was? It was something, I forgot, it was absurd, right? Who's going to pay whatever the price was for an Apple phone? That's the dumbest thing ever. I'll stick with my Palm Trio. Thank you very much. Boy, was I wrong.
I'll stick with my BlackBerry.
Yeah, boy, was I wrong. I bet on the wrong horse there.
So you want to talk about these AirPods that they introduced?
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about it. Give me the specs.
So, well, I didn't put a whole lot of specs in there. I basically just this, and I have a lot of issues with this.
Okay.
It says if you look at their website, it says 24-hour battery life.
Yeah.
And then they say 5-hour battery life.
Yes. So the 24-hour battery life is for the charging case that you charge. So you charge this thing and you get 24 hours of battery life for your EarPods. So the way that it works is that you have this case that they go in, and the case charges the phone, charges the EarPods. So let's say you're at, you have nothing left on your AirPods. You put it in, and within 15 minutes, you get 3 more hours on this thing, and you get up to 24 hours of battery life on this charging thing case. which is not bad. And so you go ahead, and then I'm gonna give you my
it's
case.
just the fact that it's sort of misleading.
It is, but a lot of people don't even. Okay, go ahead. I'm not.
That's what I have is that they claim 24-hour battery life, but they don't tell you that's the case.
Yeah, so they use some weird wording. I have it here actually. Let me go to Apple's website and pull it up.
And that's the problem that I have with this, that they don't strictly say 24-hour battery life in the case.
Okay.
I think 5-hour battery life is okay.
It's one of the best in the industry.
And then I don't know, they just look like they're easily losable.
Like every other one.
Well, no, if you have one of those that has a cable between the two,
yeah, those are a little better. Yeah, those are a little better.
That's much less losable. But you just have literally the earbuds themselves, and even if you misplace one of them, the whole thing is just like, okay. And not only that, but they want $159 for this, which I think is a little. I know you've done the research on this.
I did.
But
because I thought exactly
like
myself,
who's already having a hard time with their not being a headphone jack.
I know. It's too much.
$159 is too much.
You're overwhelmed with all of this. You just
I'm not overwhelmed.
You're done.
It's just,
you're finished. You're over this. You're over all of this. You're over the headphone. That this headphone thing is driving you crazy. You want to set all the phones on fire at this point.
Right. So if I want to, have decent sounding audio quality, I got to spend $170 for Bluetooth headphones. And it's just like,
okay.
Really?
So let me give you my case here. I did a lot of research because when I first heard the 159 and I saw the 5-hour battery life, up to 5-hour battery life, I was a little. I honestly didn't think they would put $99. I thought would be a great price point for this, but I don't know.
So too. I was like, I would love it. It was $49.99. I could see it being $99.99.
Yeah. So
was not seeing $159.99.
I went into this without knowing what that market is like, right? The Bluetooth headphone market, and it's a very broad market because you could buy stuff for like $19. And then it goes all the way up to like $300-$400 for some of these things. The Apple,
it's just insane.
Which is the headphones are like that, right? I mean, we talk about this all the time. Like you have a pair of Sony MDRs that you absolutely love, and those are about $100. But to a lot of people, why would you get a $100 headphone when you could buy a $19 headphone? Like that's it doesn't matter. Like that's fine. And I think, by the way, $100 is a great price point for that. My headphones are $129. I have a pair of headphones that are almost $200 that I do not think sound great. So yeah, I did the research on this.
It's even the fact that it's over $150.
Yeah. So I did the research. And the conclusion that I came to is these are actually a pretty decent deal. And I'll tell you why. A lot of these Bluetooth headphones are at least 3 hours of charging. And they don't have like a battery. They don't have a case that you could walk around with. And the ones that do have a case,
they don't have something else you can also lose with them.
No, they don't. But they only give you 3 hours. So here's the thing: what do you do if you're out and about and your headphone dies? You don't get that opportunity to just pop them in for 10 minutes and then take it out. So I think that's a plus. The ones that I have seen that do this are only 8 hours or 10 hours of charge on that battery case. The other thing is you're also getting that accelerometer that'll work, and it'll work with Siri. And it's using, I believe, and I'm not too sure, and I think you thought this too, it's using NFC to easily sync.
Accelerometers cannot be that expensive.
It's not, but it's another thing that other ones don't. Right? And it also has a microphone where a lot of the other ones don't.
I mean, honestly,
and I actually do not.
Even if it was $129.99, that would be way better than $159.
Oh, you know what? Maybe they're going to drop the price when they see what people are buying.
They're over $149.
It's possible. So when I looked at the price of this, and I compared it to the other ones, it's actually exactly where the market is depicted for those kind of devices. Now, I don't know if these are the same exact headphones as the iPhone. Listen, they're not great headphones, but they're not terrible. Like, I have a pair of Samsungs that I got with my phone. Comparing that to the iPhone headphone, it's actually really bad. Surprisingly, it's bad, and they shouldn't be. The other thing, it does auto mono stereo, which is cool, which you don't really see too often. The negative here is that it's standard Bluetooth, so you are limited to the quality that you're going to get over Bluetooth, much like everything else on the market.
Last time I tried Bluetooth, I was incredibly disappointed.
I was also, but it could have also been that it was a bad headphone, like it could have been a cheapo headphone. I've used really good Bluetooth headphones, and I don't care for them.
I think that was inherent to Bluetooth and Bluetooth at the time that I tried it, so...
Listen, Bluetooth's improved. 4.1 has improved way better. It's way better than 3 and whatever the previous generation was. So the other thing I like is that it's switchable. But here's what I heard, and I've been reading about this, and I'm getting conflicting stories. As far as I could tell, this will work on other non-Apple devices. You're just
That's
not
what
going
I've
to
been
get.
reading too.
You're just not going to
get Bluetooth. It just won't have the same magic.
It won't have the Apple magic. Yeah, so it won't sync perfectly once you take it out of the case. But for $159 and knowing that I could use this on my other devices, it's a little better than it's only locked in proprietary. The proprietary stuff, there is proprietary stuff, and that's I think the sync. And I think it's the accelerometer, and I think it's the mono to stereo switching. It's still people in the marketplace for quality and whatever it is. This is exactly where the market dictates. And I came out swinging. I was like you, John. I said this sucks. It's too much money. I don't think people are going to buy this. Now, will they probably drop the price? I do think they're going to drop the price. Look, I think they'll drop it to $129.
I'm an audiophile myself, and I'm fine paying for something if it's reasonable and it sounds good.
Well, you know what? I'm going to give this a shot. I know someone that's buying one. And I asked him if I could use them and borrow them for a couple hours. And he said, absolutely, take them and use them. I want to see how good they work. That's the only way we'll know.
I want to get your opinion on how easily lost they are.
You know what it is, though? I don't lose things. I'm very obsessive with this stuff. Like, I don't, but listen, like Home, he'll lose everything. There's no way he's going to survive with these things. My wife will definitely lose these. There's no way that she will not lose this.
Yeah, and you're not going to spend $159 on something that you're just going to lose.
I'm telling you right now, I am not, but I would just use the earbuds that come with it. Like I don't know. I don't know. You know what? I have been out of the iOS, the iPhone experience for a little
Like
too
I said,
long.
my biggest problem is that there is honestly more times that I need to have, the phone charging and headphones plugged in. And I've done this several times over the past month where I've had to have it both charging and headphones plugged in at the same time. So that alone is a big issue for me.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
And yes, Bluetooth will solve that, but there's no way I'm spending $159.
Okay, so you know what, John? If you get the iPhone, I will buy you.
Oh, well, you can get cheaper Bluetooth headsets. Yeah? How good do they sound?
Well, we don't know how good this sounds either, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. What else do we have?
So let's talk about this game that they announced at the very beginning of the event.
I'm very excited for this.
Cool surprise. Super Mario Run. Nintendo came out and actually launched or announced Super Mario Run for the iPhone, which is coming later this year. And for you Android people, yes, it is coming eventually for Android as well.
You're very excited for this. I'm actually pleasantly surprised that Nintendo finally realized that they have to start putting some titles on mobile devices. They did this. I think it really comes down to the success of Pokemon Go. That's really made this a thing for them. The summer blew up for them. And, even though it's their licensed property and stuff like that, they realize what they can do. And I do think it's a good idea not to just port over, Super Mario 3 and just sell that in the store. I think what they're going to have to do is have these original titles for the iPhone and for Android. I do see them doing exclusive titles for the iPhone and exclusive titles for Android. I think this would be a nice way for them to play both sides.
That would be a bad move, I think.
You think so? Yeah. I anticipate there to be an exclusive title for iOS.
That I don't like exclusive, period. Regardless of what it is. Even when, a phone is exclusive to a carrier, I've never liked that.
So
when when an album is exclusive to whatever streaming service, don't like it.
So let me ask you this.
I do not like exclusives.
Let me ask you this. Do you think this is going to be a successful venture for Nintendo?
I think it will be, yeah. I think they demoed the game, and it looks like a really fun game.
It does look like a fun game, yeah.
It looks like it captures the essence of Mario and Nintendo, and people have wanted this sort of experience on their iPhone.
So how does it work? It works if with tilting, right? Doesn't it work with tilting it's not necessarily.
I'm not sure, because they were like, we purposely made this so that you can play it one-handed.
Yeah, so I think it works with
I
tilting.
didn't quite understand the controls of it.
So I believe it's always running. It's always running, and you're controlling left or right.
Yeah, but you can also jump in.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. I mean, it looks like a really fun game. It really does.
I'm looking at a clip of it right now, and this looks really cool. It looks like a full game. It doesn't look like some, dinky game.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of Mario Brothers.
So the other thing is they said, this was interesting. So it's coming December 2016 for iPhone and iPad. The interesting wording that they used was, you pay once and you get everything. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit of a weird thing, but they just don't want to do freemium where, you download the game, but then you have in-app purchases. They don't want to do in-app purchases.
I'm telling you right now, this is not
purchase, and that's it, and you get everything.
This is not going to be a $2 or $3 game.
No, and I think most people are fine with that.
$9.99.
I think most people would be perfectly acceptable of $9.99 for this game.
I would be very, very happy with that.
I think they could possibly even swing $14.99.
Oh, they might. They might, and they'll probably get their money because Nintendo's not cheap when they put stuff in there. I mean, even in their Nintendo Virtual Store for Nintendo Wii U.
I will say though, if it's over $14.99, no way.
No way, no.
For a mobile game, I don't think.
No.
You'd be hard pressed to get more than $14.99 for any mobile game.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. Apple Watch 2 was also announced. Now waterproof by using the speaker to vibrate the water out of the phone.
Did you see the little animation of this?
I did, yeah. I did. I saw it.
It's a little interesting. They say that it's waterproof or swim-proof up to 50 meters.
Yeah, up to it's water resistant.
They made like a huge deal out of, you can swim with this.
Which
I think is something that we made specifically for swimmers.
Yeah. It has its own GPS chip now. And the big partnership is with Nike and with Nike branded Apple Watches for runners, including Nike specific apps for runners. That is a very interesting move and something that we've discussed for a long time, because I do think that the future of this device is going to be co-branded products where they license the product to the brand. Pokemon Go officially will get an app on the watch. John, you got to get your Apple Watch now.
I'm honestly wondering,
get the first one.
This is going to be.
What? Oh yeah, I'm curious about that too.
I mean, if Pokemon Go on your phone just kills your battery, what is Pokemon Go on the watch going to do for your watch battery?
Yeah, it's officially coming to the watch, but how long will the battery life be? It launches on September 16th, and the prices for the device will start at $369 for the 38mm edition. The Nike Plus edition for the device is starting at $369, but won't be shipping until later October. The Apple Watch Series 1, which is the original Apple Watch, gets a price drop to $269, which sounds incredibly reasonable, in my opinion. They also made a big deal out their new ceramic version, which has set you back a whopping $1,249. So, and Paul brought this up to me yesterday. When they announced the Apple Watch, or the first one, I thought it was obscenely expensive. But now looking at $369 for this thing, even for the Series 2, it's not that bad. $369, it's not that bad.
It's not. I mean, it's when you're spending $400, $500, $600.
Yeah. You know, I'll tell you, 269. 269 does not look bad.
Limited functionality.
269 does not look bad for the Series 1.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I
also,
think that's
by the way,
very reasonable.
Series 1 will also get the new dual-core CPU. It's getting a new. So it's not the original. It's Series 1. That's how they're calling it.
Yeah, I think under $400 is for an Apple Watch. For an Apple Watch is reasonable.
Yeah. Not bad at all.
For most other watches, I don't know, but
well, they're all like that. I mean, look at Samsung. Let's look at the Samsung lineup. Let me go to Samsung. Samsung Gear. The Gear V3, right? Is that it? No,
I have no idea. I don't keep track of it. It's just like they have a new one every 6 months or whatever. So
okay, the new Gear S. Wow, this is actually pretty. There's multiple watches. Okay, let's go to smartwatches. I'm curious to see what their price point is and where they start. Yeah, some of these watches are really pretty. Okay, so the Gear S2. Is there a Gear S3 or they haven't released it in the store? Okay, so Samsung's website is really funky.
Yeah, and I can't keep track of what products they have because they announce a new product every single month.
Yeah, so it's probably going to be $400 like the other one. They're all the same. These are actually not bad looking, these watches. Not bad looking at all.
Listen, I think a lot of this is, people are still very hesitant about wearables, especially smartwatches, and they're okay spending some money on this. I think up to $400, but I think after $400, you really start to think, okay, well, how often am I going to use this watch, and is it really worth it for something that's more than $400?
Mm-hmm. Agree with you 100%. So
$269, $369, I can see that being something that's somewhat of an impulse buy, but after that, you really have to want the Apple Watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about Samsung. Sony. PlayStation 4 Slim and PlayStation 4 Pro was announced also last week. This week.
Yeah, they did this at the same time as the Apple event.
They did. They did do it. PS4 Slim hits the shelves September 15th for $300. The PS4 Slim features a 500 gig hard drive and the guts of the standard PS4, plus a new cosmetic and convenience upgrades, including a light bar at the top, more space between the front-facing USB ports, and the removal of the optical port. I don't like that. I sometimes like optical audio. If you don't have, well, it's unnecessary at this point. You're right. I'm thinking to myself. I'm having a discussion with myself, and I'm saying, you're right, Andrew. The console is about 30% smaller than the standard PS4, which came out in 2013. Oh, my God, it came out in 2013. And it plays all existing PlayStation 4s. The new model, however, is more energy efficient, cutting power consumption down by 28% over the current PS4. The Slim supports HDR gaming and video as well. The Pro will be available November 10th, and it'll be priced at $399. The upgrade it boasts about the upgraded X96-64 Jaguar AMD CPU with 8 cores, a 4.2 teraflop AMD Radeon GPU, 3 USB ports, 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, supports up to 1 terabyte hard drive. Sony says it's twice as fast as a regular PS4, and of course, it's designed specifically for UHD TVs and PlayStation VR. It's also going to do UHD HDR. What do you think of this?
Cool.
Mid-range replacements, mid-cycle replacements for these devices. It's a new venture by both Microsoft and Sony.
I think they're both decent upgrades to what's out there now.
Very decent upgrades. Very decent upgrades. And you know what? This makes sense because the days of having a console for 8 years sitting down there and minor upgrades happening, it's kind of gone. Technology is moving really quickly, especially with television. In 2013, a lot, and they're doing this for 4K, obviously. In 2013, 4K was still not a selling device. Everybody, I mean, listen, I bought a TV last year.
Yeah, well, it's like, almost every TV that you buy these days is 4K capable.
Yeah.
So.
And I bought a TV last year, and I didn't buy a 4K TV because it was still kind of expensive. Now, I can get a beautiful Vizio, 4K, 60-inch, for $600, $700. If I want to spend a little bit more and get something a little better, $800. So you're below the $1,000 threshold for these TVs. You're getting a great TV. I think I saw it at Walmart. I was looking online. They had a 55-inch 4K Vizia for $499.
Wow,
that's ridiculous. So it's the right time for Sony. The people are adapting 4K, and there's more 4K content being provided.
Now, if only networks would start operating.
It's not going to happen. Sorry, not happening. God, no. They're not even doing 1080. They're not doing 1080p.
And that's so bad.
It's really bad. They're going to get their act together, hopefully one day. So, the last story of the day, Australian Airlines is banning users of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. Samsung has a global recall. It's actually not a recall. They're calling it something else, because if it's a recall, then they have to call all the devices back. I think they put a stop or a replacement order, something like that. They're calling it something else. Of the Samsung Galaxy Note 7 due to the issue with the battery exploding. Note, it is a very small percentage.
We talked about this, I think, last week, where they have batteries from two different manufacturers, and it's the Korean batteries that have some sort of flaw in it, and they've I don't know what the revised ones are, but when we reported this last week, they said there was reports of about 35 people that had a Galaxy Note 7 with an exploded battery.
Yeah. Not a lot of people, but it's still dangerous, and it's still something that could possibly happen.
And now it seems to be, getting a little bit more dramatic now that, airlines such as, I believe it was Qantas, Jetstar, and Virgin Australia, telling passengers that they are not to power up their Samsung Galaxy Note 7 on its planes. You also have the FAA also saying, you probably shouldn't be using your Galaxy Note 7 on flights.
I do find it funny, because do you think a lot of these flight attendants know what phone is what? You know what I mean? Do you think they're going and saying, like, let me see your papers, like a Gestapo? They walk around, let me see your phone now. Leave the phone at the door.
You've had this escalation of this situation.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, okay, well, now it's kind of, it's serious, but not serious in the sense that, okay, well, this is unprecedented in the sense that you have airlines and the FAA saying, don't use your Galaxy Note 7 on flights.
Do you remember what the other phone was that was catching on fire? Was it the iPhone?
I don't remember. I know that there's been a lot of issues with the hoverboards and the lithium-ion batteries in those.
Yeah. Curtis B says, in our chat room, by the way, if you're watching this, you can watch live, by the way, every week. We do a show on Fridays. He says, it'll be easy for the flight attendants to recognize it. It'll be the one on fire, setting off the smoke detectors in the bathroom. Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. That'll be it. I'm trying to remember what the other phone was that was catching on fire. It was a big deal. Crap, I forgot what it was. So is it the fast charging that's causing this?
I don't know. I haven't read that much into it. I don't know that they've said much about the cause of it, other than it being the Korean batteries.
So, I did some reading about how the fast charging works, and the problem with fast charging is that it dramatically reduces the lifespan of your battery. But the way that it's justified is that you're going to have this phone for 2 years anyway, and you're getting rid of it, so who cares? Who cares if it's running at 75%, of charging capacity compared to, 100% 2 years ago. So that's how they justify it, but it's actually really bad for the battery due to this fast charging. If you're deciding to hang on to your battery for, a while, I really do recommend at night not to do the fast charging and leave it in as like a regular, use like a lower amperage, I guess. I guess that's what you can do. Like, I have different plugs that don't do fast charging. So at night I use that on my phone. Because who cares if it's going to take 8 hours to charge my battery to 100%. I'm sleeping. So that's about it. Thank you. All right. Let's wrap it up. I got to get out of here. John, you got to get out of here. Yep. Guys, go to our website, gfqnetwork.com. Subscribe to all our podcasts. We have a wide range of content on our website. You can follow John on Twitter @Suncast. You can follow me on Twitter @AndrewZarin. You can follow the GFQ Network @GFQ Network. and we'll be back next week. Bye-bye for now.